And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win in any marketplace. We do that by bringing on all of our expert contributors. And today we got a few of the best here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Going to be kicking off with Jennie Restrepo here in just a moment, Insured Title Agency. We can talk about hurricane relief and also some things to think about when it comes to, whose home is it? Are you deeded properly? Hurricane issues come up, and we'll talk about some issues with insurance as well. We got Dan Menikheim as well, SEC Inspections, inspection partner with the Consumer Quarterback Show, as well as Pro Health Pest Control. They can help with pest inspections and infestations. Nate Ginter, Vine IT's our tech expert. We love talking with Nate. Elon Musk shows off humanoid robot type at Tesla AI Day. And your business should start prepping for the next hurricane now. So good stuff coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Quick shout out to Kevin Jackson's Unapologetically American Comedy Tour coming up in St. Petersburg at the Palladium Theater on October 20th. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on stage. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to show off some of my new comedic acts. No, I'm just kidding. No comedy from me right now. But, yeah, it's going to be fun. So $50 general ticket. Support fellow Salem media nationally syndicated show host Kevin Jackson, Unapologetically American Comedy Tour coming up at the Palladium Theater in St. Petersburg, which is on 5th Avenue North. Great venue. I've been to some other Salem events there. They also have a VIP ticket available for $150. 5:30 is the show VIP reception. A lot of good stuff. Going to be 3 great comedians, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So come out there and join us for that. And we'd like to feature our real estate listings live on air, help our sellers profit more, sell faster. 219 Castle Keeper is a nice, affordable townhome that we've got listed here. This is a property at 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. You got a 2-story townhome with a bonus room. 219 Castle Keeper Place, Valrico. First floor, you got a large living room. Second floor, you got the bedrooms there. Gated community with lush landscaping and a community pool. You got a resort-style community pool. Beautiful property here at 219 Castle Keeper Place in Valrico, Florida. And another hot property listing here in South Tampa, 1605 South Georgia Avenue. This one is in Hyde Park, Palmacia Avenue. Or Palmacia area, that is 1605 South Georgia Avenue. We got almost 1,500 square feet. You got 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, move-in ready, Hyde Park area, Plant High School District, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops. She is currently renting this property out, and it is bringing in about $250 a day here in beautiful South Tampa, 1605 South Georgia Avenue. You can see all of our listings, Platinum MVP Team. .kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Jennie Restrepo, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Hey, my pleasure, absolutely. And Insured Title Agency, you're getting involved with some of the hurricane relief as well?
Well, I've tried to get the message out, so I did do a post on our Facebook page that there's a lot of agencies out there that are supporting people for hurricane relief. If you check out our Facebook page, I linked to a note from the CEO of Greater Tampa Realtors with some options. Of course, you have the American Red Cross, you have FEMA, if you want to make money donations, but there are a lot of groups out there like Metropolitan Ministries that are accepting what they call in-kind donations. So I think the biggest thing that they need are things for kids and babies. Mm-hmm. And I just had another colleague say he has an airplane. He's going to take a load of things down there this Friday. They don't need bottled water. They don't need generators. That's what everybody is sending.
Okay.
What they do need are diapers, wipes, toiletries, kids' clothes, babies' clothes. Because even if families evacuated, they only took as much as they could either carry or put into their cars.
Right.
So a lot of people lost almost everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Any type of paper towel, wipes, feminine products, all those types of things. So, yeah, hurricane relief. Also, Keller Williams is shipping down stuff as well. We have our office right there in Clearwater. You can drop off supplies if you wanted to get it down there. We're taking trucks. It seems like every other day there's trucks heading south. Hurricane preparedness in the future is also another topic to talk about.
So I know once we have a big storm, everybody has a sigh of relief. However, we are not out of hurricane season yet. And in fact, I remember one year that there was a huge hurricane that hit Texas, and everybody in Florida was wanting to help everyone in Texas. And then 2 weeks later, we had our own storm here in Florida. Right. So hurricane season doesn't end until the end of November. And so it's not time to let up on being prepared. And one thing that came to my mind that I talked about at another meeting today is title and hurricane preparedness.
Okay.
What happened with Hurricane Katrina is, of course, that was in Louisiana, New Orleans. In some of the districts there, many people, many families were living in what you would call their ancestral homes. Mm-hmm. So it just sort of transferred through the family from great-grandma to grandma and on up. And the municipality is not going to come knocking on your door and making sure that your title is correct as long as somebody is paying. Right. So if you're paying your property taxes and you're generally upkeeping the property, you're not sending up any red flags to any municipality to come and make sure that you have everything that's done correctly.
Right.
And so what happened in New Orleans, unfortunately, is that these families, these homes were destroyed. The current occupant of the home was not the owner of record, and that person was not the insured party on the homeowner's insurance policy. So many of these people they lost their homes. They didn't have an insurance claim. They didn't have a title claim. They didn't have anything to resell because the person who owned it was deceased for many years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so that may not affect the large amount of people out there, but what it does bring up is you do need to check your title. You need to ensure that what is reflecting on title is correct and up to date. So if you've become a married person since you purchased the house, do you hold title as a single person still or a married person? If you have an elderly family member, or say, dad left you the house and now dad's passed away, did you do a quit claim deed? I know I've talked about that on the show before.
Yeah.
It honestly, make that call. You can call us at our insured title agency. You can call a real estate attorney. You can call into the show if you have a question about that. Because these are the types of things that sort of fly under the radar. Right. Everybody says buy water, get candles, but you don't think about these things. But these are the little nuggets that could cost you so much time and heartache in the future.
Yeah.
And, if there are homes down there in Fort Myers that it's paid off so there's no property insurance, or there's property insurance but no flood insurance.
Right.
All of these little things that seem like annoying paperwork details could tumbleweed into a huge problem if there's a problem that exists.
Yeah. We're talking with Jennie Restrepo here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Insured Title Agency. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And let's talk about that because you had mentioned as well about storm surge.
Yes.
So there's a difference between this velocity. By the way, when they talk about, flood zones and ratings, you get these V zones, velocity zones, which is typically your evacuation A. But velocity was storm surge, meaning that push that comes from those headwinds and then that initial surge of water that's rising. And again, worst case if it's a high tide situation. But there's a difference there. And then you get your wind insurance. Okay, well, what caused the flood? Was it wind? Was it flood? Was it surge, the tropical surge? Can you break it down for us?
I can break. So we do title insurance and not homeowners insurance. So I may not be the expert in this field. Right. I would always advise call your insurance agent and talk about your specific property and your specific situation. But in the news, they're claiming that the FEMA maps of what is a flood zone, what constitutes a flood zone, and what does not are very outdated. Our flood insurance program overall in the state of Florida is a disaster. I was at a meeting earlier with a bunch of real estate agents and brokers, and someone else brought up that she looked at her own policy, and her flood policy only covered up to $200,000 of damage from flooding on her $1 million home.
Wow.
So if your entire home is washed away in a flood and your flood insurance only covers you for $200,000, you have a big problem there.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, your title insurance policy does not cover any damages to your home.
Right.
It doesn't cover if your entire home is washed away into the ocean.
Yeah.
So lots of these little details of things that you really do need to take a deeper dive. I feel like, when you're signing a real estate contract at closing, you're signing 500 pieces of paper. Are you really reading all of those words?
Right.
We advise you to, but probably not.
Right.
Same, you're shopping homeowners insurance, you're talking to an insurance agent, they tell you what's the thing. Did you read every page of the 45 pages of your homeowners insurance policy?
Right.
Probably not. But these are the events that make you wish that you would have, and so don't have that regret. I would say get your policy out, get your agent on the phone, and have them walk you through and say, okay, I saw what happened in Fort Myers. So if we had a storm surge, would I be covered? If we had hurricane winds, would I be covered? Ask all of those questions because it is their duty to answer that to you. And if you don't feel like you get the right answers from your current insurance agent, find a new one.
Yeah, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance is who we recommend. We work with Doug. He's a longtime friend of the program. He's featured in lots of different magazines, and he's definitely a forefront professional in that space, highly respected. Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance is who we work with. But yeah, we just wanted to touch on that because you had mentioned that before.
Yes.
And I find it very interesting that sometimes when, and I can see that happening, especially in New Orleans, some of those second generation, third generation homes just being kind of passed down, there's no real checks and balance in the system.
No.
If grandma passes and the mom's already living there and they just assume that she's gone, and it's not triggering probate or anything along those lines.
Well, if grandma had a bank account, her bank account would be closed down as far as like an estate. So once there's a recorded death certificate, I think they cross-reference it against a social security number. So a deceased person can no longer have a checking account.
Got it.
So that money gets frozen. But unfortunately, let's say that grandma didn't have a bunch of assets.
Yep.
All she basically had was the home.
Mm-hmm.
No one's selling it. So a sale is always going to trigger something, right? Someone looking at it, a real estate agent, a title company. But if a family member just basically continues to reside there, say the family lived there when grandma was living, so they continue to live there, that there's no trigger. There's no trigger that makes there be a question mark, because as long as if you stop paying your property taxes, that's when, in Hillsborough County where we are, that's when Hillsborough County is going to say, we want our money.
Yeah.
But if you then pay it, they don't care if Brandon Rhymes pays Jennie Restrepo's property taxes as long as someone pays and the money is good and the check clears.
Right.
So those things can happen. You're not required to have homeowners insurance if you don't have a loan on your property. Mm-hmm. So it's your choice to have it. And yes, it costs you money to have it. But if you don't have a policy and you don't have a lien holder, then you do not.
Yeah, so there's no
then you're
mortgage.
just rolling the dice.
Yeah, you're kind of self-employed or self-insured is what they call that. And there are some people that I talked to over the last, I know several, probably close to a dozen people now that have been really affected. And, some of them just didn't have insurance. They were just older and just didn't do it, didn't have it. Rolling the dice. And a lot of people were just cutting expenses. Just look at this Biden economy. People are struggling, crazy struggling out there, and losing jobs. And they just, one of the things you cut, I guess, is insurance. It comes down to it. What are you going to do? Buy groceries and gas? Or are you going to pay for some kind of insurance policy that you may or may not need?
And a lot of mobile homes, which are a big thing here in the state of Florida, once they get to a certain age and condition, they're no longer insurable.
Right.
And if you live in a mobile home where you don't own the land, say you live in a park, and you basically own your domicile, you don't own the land underneath it.
Right.
If your mobile home washes away and you have no insurance, I'm so sorry for you. That's it. There is no recompense.
Yeah.
I think that I feel like I did see this, so of course double check everything that I say. I'm not an attorney, but I did see that FEMA will be open to making applications if you have damages or claims above and beyond what your insurance policy will cover. But I feel like you at least have to have some kind of insurance. Yeah. So if you have insurance and you're paying for insurance, but your repairs exceed your policy, they will step in and give you some assistance. But if you just straight up didn't have a policy and now you have nothing left to show for it, I'm not sure that there are options out there to help you with that, to recoup the value of what you've lost.
Yeah, exactly. it gets tricky with those different scenarios. And just in general too, Jenny, you hear people talking about, oh well, I talk to a lot of for sale by owners and expireds. We contact them and hopefully convince them to list with us is the plan. A lot of people are saying, oh, we're not going to sell now. The market went real bad. It turned to what. And I just look at these stats. I mean, I'm looking at right here Pinellas County stats. You're talking about an 83% absorption rate and a 1.2 month supply of inventory still. I mean, the numbers, the data doesn't lie. But so people sometimes, if you look at these, you can't really see from the screen there, but it's still a good market. Deals are still happening.
Absolutely.
Even though the rates are 6.5%, that's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, and they're going to come down because that's the nature of how an economy works. It works in a circle. Mm-hmm. So what goes up must come down, but then it goes in a circle again. And are you going to miss out on either buying or selling? Are you downsizing? If you're downsizing, then maybe you're paying a little bit higher interest rate, but your payment is going down because you're selling your huge family home because now you're an empty nester. Right. Do you still need this big house, or do you want to be in a condo or in a smaller location, less upkeep, or in a maintenance-free community? Yeah. I think that one of the takeaways from the meeting that I had earlier is be your own seeker of information. A lot of people are turning off major news networks because we're just tired of the sensationalism.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, this is completely my opinion. Jennie Restrepo's opinion, not the opinion of ITA, but...
Sure.
I saw a headline, worst case scenario for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And what happened? And so I feel like don't say something that you can't back up. Yeah. It could be the worst case scenario, so be prepared. Fully support that. Right. Be prepared. Every time this happens, we don't know what's going to happen, so you don't want to be that person getting airlifted by the Coast Guard because you did not leave when they told you to leave. But at the same time, these types of situations in mainstream news are turning people off, and you're turning off the channel. You're not getting cable. You're not listening to it anymore, and you're being your own sort of source of information. Yeah. And so that's the thing. Just because the news says it's a bad market, the news says that interest rates are going up, look at your individual situation. Talk to an agent in your local community.
That's right.
Look at what's happening in Tampa Bay, not the United States as a whole, and not even Florida as a whole. Because one of the things that may be an outcome of this storm is Fort Myers and that entire area is not bouncing back. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's just not a reality. Mm-hmm. And so we're probably going to see people leaving that area and relocating.
Right.
That's exactly. I mean, I'm old enough to say.
That's what I've been telling. Some of the sellers. Yeah.
I'm old enough to say that I remember Hurricane Andrew, and I was in school at the time, and we had a bunch of new students start at my school because Hurricane Andrew destroyed Miami. And even if you can make an insurance claim and rebuild your house, are you living in a FEMA trailer for 6 or 9 months?
Right.
A lot of people just basically left the area.
Yep.
Now you no longer have a business, you don't have a job. Yep. A lot of things happen. So we may see an influx here in Tampa because Tampa has a lot of opportunity.
Absolutely. Best place for folks to find you?
Find me on all the socials. I posted a lot of TikToks about getting prepared for the hurricane. So at Insured Title Agency, or of course call the show, or you can call our office, 813-855-3585.
All right, Jenny, thanks so much. Good stuff today. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, Dan Menikheim, SEC Inspections on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Going to the phone lines, we've got Dan Menikheim, SEC Inspections. Dan, how you doing today, sir?
Good. One thing's for sure, when I personally take my family and we evacuate to Kissimmee specifically,
yeah,
the hurricane hits us, not here. So I want a big thank you for Ian not coming here. Maybe. I mean, I'm telling you, and it's one of those things where I want to be safe. I don't want to put my family through a big headache or anything like that. But that definitely did happen twice, where we went to Kissimmee. Kissimmee got hit. We did not get hit. So,
yeah,
those are the facts.
But you're kind of coastal, though. That's the thing. Like, if you're coastal, you gotta just take your chance of getting away from that initial push, that velocity.
Yeah, exactly. And today we're going to talk a little bit about wind mitigation, stuff like that. But when you're on the coast, there's more of a chance you're going to come back to your home if you have certain things done to your home, and there's some discounts on insurance. But, yeah, if you're on the coast, no one could have sometimes I'm on the coast and, I'm doing a home inspection, a homeowner tell me, hey, do you think I'm safe here? I go, you know what? From high winds, but I don't know. But I wouldn't be here if you're going to get a direct hit.
Right.
I'd leave. That's my point. Even if the house is built well, I mean, do you want, and you're in a 3-story building, do you want to look down and your car's underwater? I would want to be at a hotel watching my place underwater instead of being there. So,
right. Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about the wind mitigations, and then you also look at, protection for roof to wall connections as well with your inspections.
Yeah. We want to make sure the homes are, look, my home nothing happened in my home. Nothing happened to probably your home. I live in the Tampa Bay area.
Yep.
Could have been a lot worse. Could have been underwater. I'm in one of the later evacuation zones, but things around me are in the evac zone. So what am I going to do? Sit here without electric, surrounded by water?
Right.
I left. But here's what happened, though, right? So my daughter's in college. It's around the Kissimmee area. It's actually Lakeland. But,
yep.
And just to be safe, we went there, and I went to a home. I knew that Kissimmee's more inland. And I picked a place to rent that had impact-rated windows and doors and stuff. And I'm going to tell you this. I do home inspections for a living, but I think I'm going to sell a window, impact-rated windows and doors, because I went through a storm where we got 70 mile an hour.
We'll be right back, Dan. We got to cut you off there. Sorry about that. Short segment coming up. We got more time on the other side of the break here with Dan Menikheim, SEC Inspections and Pro Health Pest Control. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We always like to help you win in your real estate deals. If you're buying, selling, or investing, work with us. We're a top 100 ranked real estate team here at in Tampa Bay, Keller Williams Realty. And we had to kind of cut Dan off a little bit. We were running out of time on that last segment. Dan, sorry about that. But Dan Menikheim, SEC Inspections, also owner of Pro Health Pest Control. Pick up where you left off, my friend.
Yeah, I was just talking about opening protection, right? These impact-rated windows and doors. What a pleasure it was to go through a high windstorm. I would say the gusts, I'm not a meteorologist and I wasn't taking, local wind samples or anything like that, for the velocity of the wind. But it was blowing sideways all the time, and some of the gusts got even higher. Rain, there was trees, within in the community, there were newer trees that were falling over and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, being in that home, it was very peaceful and quiet. The noise reduction. I've been in my own personal house where I have a few openings that aren't protected, and there's a big difference between the just the noise of the storm, So it was it was excellent. The new roofing material they had on it, nothing blew off. Totally protected. Really nice, comfortable place to be for a tropical, let's just say a tropical storm type of event.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you were inland, so you were somewhat shielded and protected from the high winds. So those wind mitigations, also people are looking for ways to reduce their cost. So if you think about a wind mitigation, that can also reap some benefits and rewards in that case as well.
Yes, and certainly a home like I was in, or even my home, there's less risk for the insurance company, right? The roof didn't blow off, nothing hit the windows, and rain got into the home. So because of that, less risk for the insurance company. They pass the savings on to you. It's a wind mitigation. It covers the roof to wall connection, the opening protection, and things like hurricane clips, metal strap, which they've been around for decades. So,
Yeah, and a lot of the new storms, I was listening to Governor DeSantis on one of the clips, and he was mentioning that a lot of the new construction homes he noticed did very well with the storm. So some of those new codes that they're enforcing, Dan, that can make a difference.
Yeah, it really can. And you can also retrofit an older home. You don't have to purchase a brand new home, but certainly the new homes, the codes that they're up to, they're gonna fare way better in a storm than a home that doesn't have it. In any home that you see, probably, I'm not gonna say every home, but most homes that you'll see floating, that actually get lifted up and floated on, it's probably gonna be an older wood home that actually works like a boat. Right, it's made of wood. Wood floats, lifts itself off the foundation.
Right.
An 8 feet of water, it's going to lift up. Now, I have a friend in North Naples. Her home didn't get blown away. She's got opening protection on her, but she got 4 feet of water, and she's raised up.
Wow.
So the water by her place was like 8 feet. She's not on the beach, but you can see the beach from her house.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, those wood frame homes. I would definitely not stay if I'm in a wood frame home. Now, and you see a lot of these construction built, Dan, where you have the majority, I would say, of these 2-story structures are concrete block on the bottom, but then the upper level, the top level, is going to be more stick built.
Yeah, and that's it's just, and the reason for that is I definitely have a background in construction. The reason for that is you have to bring the carpenters in twice, right? So you bring the masons in, and then you'd have to bring the carpenters in after the first floor is built, and then you'd bring the masons back in again. So, and then you'd bring the carpenters back in again. So it's just a way to save money. But with the first floor concrete, as long as you keep the home painted, the upstairs is built really well. It's not going to withstand, flooding as well as concrete would. But if the water is 8 to 10 feet in your home because the top of the home is made of frame, you're probably going to be out of luck for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's the challenge you have with those. And so we're talking with Dan Menikheim here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, SEC Inspections. He can help you with your real estate deals, or if you just, hey, it's been a while, you're thinking about, hey, we're in the middle of hurricane season still, you might just want to get your home checked. Dan, are you seeing some people, call you for that too? Just come check me out, let me know what I'm looking here.
Yeah, that's yeah, but you mean for like after the storm stuff? Or?
Yeah, you can do rechecks, but also I'm just thinking in general, if somebody's got a 10, 12, 15-year-old home, it might be a good idea just to have you come take a look and see where you're vulnerable.
Yeah, we've gotten those. A couple of people want us to look at their foundation to make sure, there's a lot of rain and stuff like that. Yeah, we get calls like that. They're probably less than 5% of our business, but yeah, people will call that live in their home that just want us to check it out to make sure that their home is in good condition. So we'll do home inspections for homeowners concerned about their homes, for sure.
Yeah, and I was up at the Keller Williams office yesterday, I believe it was. We were unloading a truck, and I saw your lovely wife, Melissa, there, and she was helping pull stuff off the truck, getting ready to load it up on, I guess, on another truck headed down south. So you're a husband-wife team. You've got a great team over there, SEC Inspections and Pro Health Pest Control.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will be actively, if anybody has the ability to get involved to help people out in those areas. We've definitely been in areas that have been devastated. They need all the help they can get.
Yeah, and it's not just a 2-week thing, 3-week thing. This is going to be months. This is going to be potentially years of recovery.
Yeah, this wasn't a windstorm, which we look for. This was, of course, wind hit it. This was a huge push of water that just leveled those barrier islands in the coastal communities. It's just unreal. It's going to be, this is something that needs to be on top of mind for the next couple years for sure.
Yeah,
they need our help. Yeah,
I sometimes think about the Mexico beach. I remember seeing those the drone shots or the helicopter shots of just the same thing. Devastation, straight devastation. I mean, you would see 0 houses standing, and there'd be like one house that was maybe like a 2-story concrete block that was there. And I just, I bet you they're still, dealing with it up there from, I guess that was a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, people said it was. I did not go up to see that personally, but I've been into Sanibel Island and those areas too when it got hit 16 years ago? I forget when. But anyways, they're still dealing with it. Yeah, for sure. And that storm wasn't as devastating as this storm. To Mexico Beach, it was.
Right.
I mean that's typical, but this one's a much longer devastation.
Yeah.
I mean the push of the water is way more people affected on this one. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. They went across the state and circled back and went up in the Carolinas. I mean, this was a bad one.
And the stuff in the Carolinas, I was like, come on, man. After the state, I couldn't imagine that. It was a bad one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, about a minute left for you, my friend. Tell us how you can help folks and how you want them to engage. And I know you're active on social media too.
Yeah, anything on Facebook, SEC Inspection Services. You'll find us on Facebook, Pro Health Pest Control. We also we have a pest control company. We can take care of your bugs and termites and things like that. And you can reach out to me personally. You get a hold of us at dan@secInspection.com. Send me an email. I can answer your questions. We do a lot of, pro bono stuff too. If somebody needs their questions answered, we're free to answer any questions you may need about your home,
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, appreciate you calling into the program here. And keep up the good work out there. And, folks, please support the local economy by supporting Dan and Melissa Menikheim. Their two businesses, SEC Inspections and also Pro Health Pest Control. And they're longtime friends of the program here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thanks a lot, Dan.
Yep, have a good one.
My pleasure. All right, we're going to come back with Nate Ginter. He is our tech expert, Vine IT. Elon Musk in the news. We're going to talk about him and his humanoid robot. Also, how you can prepare your business for the next potential hurricane as well. Plus, feel-good story of the day. Good Samaritans rescue elderly man from flooded car during Hurricane Ian. We'll be right back here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, in studio with Martin Gramatica, Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid-region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text, complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Feel-good story of the day. Every day we'd like to tell you something positive here on the show.
Tell me something good.
All right, so Good Samaritans rescue an elderly man from flooded car during Hurricane Ian. A group of Good Samaritans rushed into action to save a man from his flooded car as Hurricane Ian battered Florida's southwestern coastline on Wednesday. We saw an elderly man struggling in his car, and we knew he needed help, says Benny. A video by @Collier County Cowboys shows the man being lifted from a vehicle submerged in floodwaters in Bonita Springs and dragged through waist-high waters to safety. The man's vehicle door was wedged shut before their intervention, Benny added. The guys all managed to grab the door and pry it open. He said it was a bit in shock, so we didn't want to let go. We assured him that we were here to help him. So there you go, feel-good story of the day. Numerous stories like that coming around the show, and we've seen those as well on our feel-good stories of the day. All right, we got Nate Ginter in the house, tech expert, Vine IT. Welcome back, sir.
Oh, always great to be here, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So let's jump right into it. Elon Musk in the news. He's always in the news. Well, he's in the news for a good thing, too, with Governor DeSantis. He's deploying. Okay. They're deploying his, I forgot his satellite technology. Starlink yes. Technology over Fort Myers right now. So good. That's good stuff for him.
So, I have a love-hate relationship with Elon Musk.
Okay.
There are certain days where I get up and I think he might be the Thomas Edison or the Tony Stark of our day, and then other days I wake up and I'm pretty sure he's just the P.T. Barnum for the most guys.
Okay, so this one made it the latter.
So he had announced that he so that they have this AI convention every year, and Tesla's big thing was they wheel out, and you'll notice I say wheel out for a very important reason, a humanoid robot that he claims that when it's finished, it's going to cost under $20,000 and is going to revolutionize labor in the workforce as we know it. First of all, a humanoid robot is actually one of the least efficient things that you could design if you're trying to design a robot for functionality.
Mm-hmm.
2 legs that it stands on is actually not very efficient. But it was funny because it never actually moved. And he is making all these claims that it's going to basically get rid of manual labor and that in the future we'll all be on universal basic income because of this robot that he says will cost under $20,000. Just not the case. You know, I'm hearkening back to when he said that there would be 60,000 e-cabs running, San Francisco by the end of the year. This was in like March. Completely unrealistic deadline.
Yeah.
Not only did he miss that deadline, they still, like 3 years later, have never even produced one.
Wow.
So, I take all of these things with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it reminds you of the Star Wars, too, like R2-D2, C-3PO, right?
Right. Well, or our very own Star Wars missile defense program, which everybody's pretty sure never actually worked. It was just there as a deterrent to make the Soviets think we could shoot down their stuff.
Wow.
So, very famously, Ronald Reagan refused to take that off the table when dealing with Gorbachev, I believe it was at the time, and ended up getting a great deal out of things by refusing to give up a program that didn't work anyway. It was,
Wow.
it was quite an interesting piece of negotiation.
Hey, little Kenny Rogers there. Know when to hold him, know when to fold him.
Know when to walk away, know when to run.
That's right. Nate Ginter here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He can help you with all your IT needs, by the way. His company based right here in St. Petersburg. So if you have a business or even your home personal computers, you want to protect them, and I'm going to let him tell a little bit more about it.
Absolutely. And one of the things I wanted to, talk to your listeners about, Brandon, is, once everything's back up and running, we're kind of back into the swing of things. It's very easy to forget how bad things can get.
Yeah.
And to make sure that, I always say you should be prepared for the next hurricane right now.
Right.
So God forbid, hoping that doesn't happen for a long time. But, knowing where your data is, making sure that you've got good backups to your systems, and even, things like Office 365 or Dropbox or Google Drive, there's actually backups for those systems as well. So, if somebody gets in and creates a bunch of bad data, or, you even accidentally delete a bunch of things and you don't notice for a while, that's something that we see very commonly in our client base. People moving a lot of files around, and somebody drags the wrong folder into somewhere, and they call us up and they go, it's gone. And with most of those platforms, if it's been more than 30 days, it can be tough to get some of those files and systems back. So just making sure you have those right protections in place is very simple. And these days everything's very cost effective. We're talking about like a couple of bucks per person typically.
Yeah.
So it's something that you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish.
Right.
With those sorts of systems. And if you have any questions about whether or not you're properly protected or you got the right data protection schemes in place, give us a call. We're always happy to take a look and talk to anybody who's whether you're a small business or a single prop person. We're happy to help you.
Yeah, reach out to the show hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. We'll put you in touch with Nate Ginter or any of our expert contributors. We've got attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, all types of great folks. So we want to be that one-stop shop, that resource for you as a consumer advocate here in Tampa Bay. Reach out to the hotline. Also, you can email brimes@kw.com, brimes@kw.com. So, yeah, and, you think about the space of technology. There was a couple clips I wanted to send you, but you look at what China's doing, what some of these other countries are doing. I mean, they are pushing for a plant. They want to plant. Basically, I remember the clip I was going to send you. It was something along, and I think it was Elon again. He was talking about a smartwatch, how we are already having some type of this, right? But he's saying that instead will be put into your brain, and it will relay. It's going to relay those messages that you're already about to send or you're thinking about sending. So, but it would be more like, oh, well, I'm thinking a happy thought. So this would be happy projected on a screen somewhere or something along the line. Do you know where I'm going with that?
Sure. So what you're talking about is already in place in a very rudimentary fashion. So a lot of the new, kind of arm or leg replacements that are out there, they actually have a chip that they can put. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm not a brain surgeon, but it's on one of the areas, and it can do very simple things like the concept of clutching something or opening your hand, that sort of thing. They've had that actually for a little while. Some of those higher order things like interpreting your actual thought patterns or specific messages, I know that they're always happy to say that these things are coming. I tend to be a little bit more of a skeptical person on those things, or at least, for something for mass adoption. It's hard to even sell people on the concept of using virtual or augmented reality because they have to put on a headset.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about something that's going to be mass adopted by people. They're going to have something drilled into their brain. I just don't see that being a thing that is, something that's going to receive that much mass adoption. If it was something that went to the general bloodstream, but yeah, I don't.
I hope you're right. I think here's where they're saying these folks that they're interviewing on these different shows, they're talking about the ability to keep up, right? So it's going to be hey, other people have it, they're able to compute certain things. I mean, think about all the smartphone apps and everything, right? There's specific advantages based on whatever criteria you're going to be inputting, but the idea is going to be at some point cyborgs are going to be more advanced, faster to do it. To use an athlete term, bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
So then if you're not doing it and you're not keeping up, so then you're less employable or less.
Yeah. So that's there's another concept that we talk about from time to time, which is So, you use the athletes, for example. Every athlete today is on a highly specialized diet with supplements and things like that didn't exist 30 years ago.
Right.
So that bigger, faster, stronger concept, the boys are just bigger than they would have been, back in the day. So that sort of keep up mentality definitely has to be there. But there also does have to be such a significant advantage to the technology that it overcomes the hurdles that stand in the way of that. So again, something gets injected in your brain. Is it going to be that much better than me just using my smartphone? That's the real question. Is it going to be that much quicker? And are there going to be, and will they have perfected the technology to the point where there aren't drawbacks and you're not hearing stories about chips exploding or people going brain dead from the operations and things. I think that's a pretty significant hurdle. We know a lot about the brain, but there's still a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
And
if the whole reaction to COVID is any indication of it, I mean, let's look at all the lies that were told there, right? Let's look at all the efficacy that was lied to. Oh, you're not vaccinated, now you got to get the double, the triple, the quadruple. Why do I have to? So look at pharma, all the big pharmas and Pfizer and these guys, and the SAD, these people dying of the the heart attacks. I mean, all the different stuff that adverse that was covered up. All those reactions.
And you look at that, and that's with them funding 60 to 80% of the broadcast networks. So, if all of a sudden you're seeing these ads for chips, I have no doubt that some people will go get them.
Yeah.
The real question is going to be, are they going to be able to show genuine advancement? Are you really going to see that 8 out of 10 people that you're running into at your next networking event, the business owners are have these types of gadgets implanted in them? I think that it will be a very, very slow thing. I could see it as something they try to actually mandate in children, or that your weird kind of genetic cocktail parents are going to want to have put in their kids from birth. That I think is possible.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be very hard to get really good data on that, at least initially anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not against it.
I think China's going to be doing it for the military side too. There's going to be definitely some weapon type ideas there. So we've got about a minute left. I want to kick it back to you, my friend. Anything tech you want to talk about? Anything else to think about?
No, just one thing that has come up quite a bit, 3 times in the last year, and actually twice during the hurricane. If you're using just a what we call chuck in a truck, single service IT guy, nothing against those boys, but for your business, you really might want to rethink that plan. We've had a couple of people go missing. Another person came because their IT got arrested, and they're holding all the keys to your castle, and then they disappear. And a lot of time people don't know their own passwords. They don't know they don't have control of their own business, and that can be very dangerous. So, we're a small team based out of North St. Pete. So, if you're in a bind or you're just looking to maybe get a little bit more robust capability, give us a shout here at VineIT.com. We're always happy to do a free consult.
In that situation where the person, maybe that tech guy went to jail, whatever happened, are you able to break through, go through the firewall? So
far, yes.
Okay.
For 80 to 90% of stuff, the answer to that question, while it is yes, there can sometimes be a significant time factor involved there.
Right.
So if it takes me 2 weeks to get into your Office 365 account, if you have troubles in the meantime, There's nobody that can help.
Time is money. That's how it is.
Absolutely.
Nate Ginter, Vine IT, thanks so much. Always a pleasure, my friend. Shout out to Jennie Restrepo as well, Dan Menikheim on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.